I will call to order the Monday, November 23rd meeting of the Verona Common Council. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Next, we'll have the roll call. Ms. Licht, please.
Alderperson Diaz.
Here.
Alderperson Doyle.
Here.
Alderperson McGilvery.
Here.
Alderperson Steiner.
Here.
Alderperson Touche.
Present.
Alderperson Yurs.
Here.
And Alderperson Linder and Alderperson Reiki are absent and excused.
Thank you. We do have a quorum, so we will proceed with the meeting. Next on the agenda is public comment. If there's anyone from the public that wishes to speak this evening, now would be the time for them to come forward. We will have a little bit later on in the agenda, we have the public hearing on the budget. So if it's the city budget that you desire to speak on, we would ask that you would wait until that point. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak? Anyone from the public that wishes to speak this evening? Seeing none under public comment, so we will move then to the approval of minutes. Those minutes were included with your packet for the November 9th meeting of the Common Council. What is your pleasure?
Move approval.
We have a motion by Mr. Yurs. Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Doyle. Were there any questions or comments on the minutes of the previous meeting? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval of minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried, and the minutes are approved. Under Mayor's business this evening, nothing really to report except that the Public Works Department did a great job on the snow removal again. We got hammered pretty hard the first snowfall, but it just reminds people that, first of all, the alternate side parking, that they do that, and we would appreciate that for the benefit of the Public Works Department that's cleaning the streets, but thank you for a job well done again. With that, I'm going to move to the administrator's report. Mr. Burns, please.
Yes, thank you. A couple updates this evening. First of all, I wanted to remind everyone that with the Thanksgiving holiday, city offices at City Hall will be closed this Thursday and Friday, the 26th and 27th. With the month of December, we traditionally have one city council meeting, and for this year that meeting will be held on the second Monday of the month, which is the 14th of December, and there will be no council meeting scheduled for the 28th of December. I wanted to give an update on the city's urban service area amendment application. That application was officially submitted back on October 13th. City staff had a meeting with CARPC staff and the DNR, and at that meeting they identified some additional information that they're requesting from the city and presented a couple of timelines for the review and consideration of the request. The timeline that we're operating under is that if we provide them with the additional requested information by November 30th, they've given us a schedule that would show that it would go to the CARPC Commission for a meeting in January, and then going to the DNR for action by the DNR in the month of February. So that is the process that we're following. It works out to be about 120 days from when the original application was submitted and about 90 days from when we would have the additional information to them. So we'll keep people updated as we go through the process, but at this point it looks like our item would be at the CARPC meeting in the month of January for consideration. Coming up on December 4th is the annual holiday tree lighting event that'll be taking place at the park along Main Street next to the Senior Center. There will also be a chili supper at the Senior Center that evening starting at 4:30, and the official tree lighting will be taking place approximately 5:18 with Gary and Deanna Canolti again doing the honors for the city this year. And then finally have some updates related to the timeline for the spring election cycle. Candidates that are interested in appearing in the ballot for the spring elections can file a declaration of candidacy at any time. December 1st is the first date to be able to circulate nomination papers, and in order to circulate nomination papers, a candidate does have to fill out that declaration of candidacy prior to circulating the papers. The deadline for nomination papers to be turned into the city is January 5th, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Burns this evening? Mr. Steiner, please.
No question, just a little more information. The park is called Central Park, and we would like to have people park not only at the Senior Center, but at Hometown Junction so that we can keep people from double parking and congesting one parking lot. Both parking lots are very open, and Ellis Manufacturing even allows us to use theirs at night, and it's a great event if you like chili, and Central Park is where it's located. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Steiner. Any other questions for Mr. Burns? Seeing none, we will then move to the engineer's report. This evening, we are joined by Ms. Carla Fisher. I've had the opportunity to work with her with my day job through the Wisconsin Counties Association, and we look forward to working with you. So with that, Carla.
Thank you. For Cathedral Point Phase 5, the project has been completed except for some punch list items that will be completed in the spring of 2016. For Liberty Drive, Fortune Drive, the work to extend Fortune Drive has been completed except for restoration of the street terrace. If the weather permits, this work will be completed yet this fall. If not completed this fall, it will be completed in the spring of 2016. For Pizza Ranch, Keenan Court, the curb and gutter was poured last Wednesday. The contractor has scheduled the asphalt paving for this week if the weather permits. Concrete sidewalk and street terrace restoration will be completed as the weather permits. For Epic Campus 5 water mains, the contractor is working on the installation of the water main to serve Campus 5. He has approximately 650 feet of water main left to install. Weather permitting, this work should be completed in 2 weeks. For the North Nine Mound Road Northern Lights Reconstruction Project, the asphalt binder course was placed through the intersection and up to North Nine Mound Road last week in preparation for switching traffic patterns. The contractor is waiting for traffic signal equipment to arrive so that the signals can be installed in the intersection and the traffic switched over to the new intersection. The intersection will remain closed until the traffic signals are operational. Once the traffic switch occurs, there will be one traffic lane in each direction until next spring, when the remainder of the street improvements can be made. The contractor will continue to haul spoil material from Epic and to the East Quarry throughout the winter months. Generally, the haul trucks are crossing North Nine Mound Road between the hours of 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And with that, if there are any questions, I will do my best to answer them.
Are there any questions this evening for Ms. Fisher, for Mr. Reeder, of the Public Works Committee? Seeing no questions, thank you, Carla. We will move on then to committee reports. We will begin with the Finance Committee. Mr. McGilvray, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under item 9A1, I'll make a motion to approve payment of the monthly bills in the amount of $413,282.27.
We have a motion by Mr. McGilvray. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Doyle. Mr. McGilvray?
Thank you. In the way of explanation, 3 of the larger items from this month's bills, the first being to Burke Truck and Equipment, Inc. for the 2015 snowplow parts and repair, $36,888.09. Next, Hammersley Stone Company, 2015 street rehab in the Verona Avenue Lincoln Street project, payment of $50,060.43. And finally, to Zenith Tech for the Locust Drive Bridge widening, $108,974.81.
Thank you, Mr. McGilvray. Are there any questions on the payment of bills this evening? Seeing no questions, the motion before you is to approve the bills in amount totaling $413,282.27. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried and the bills have been approved. Mr. McGilvray?
Thank you. Under item 9A2, I will make a motion to open the public hearing on the 2016 City of Verona budget.
We have a motion by Mr. McGilvray. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Doyle. All those in favor of opening the public hearing signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. And that motion carries. We are now in the public hearing stage for the 2016 city budget. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak this evening? Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak? Going the third and final time, anyone that wishes to speak on the budget this evening? Seeing no one, I would accept the motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. McGilvray. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Doyle. All those in favor of closing the public hearing signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion carries. Mr. McGilvray?
Thank you. Under item 9A3, I will make a motion to approve Resolution R-15-055, approving the 2016 City of Verona budget, which is inclusive of the staff recommended amendment and the Fitzroy EMS capital and operating budgets, as well as the loaded mile rate increase.
We have a motion by Mr. McGilvray. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Doyle. Questions, comments on the 2016 proposed budget? Any questions? We had the committee of the whole meeting last week. We talked about the two amendments, and the amendment that is being proposed is the one that the staff had approved. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval of Resolution R-15-055?
I just had a quick
I'm
question.
sorry, go ahead.
Do we need a formal motion to adopt the staff amendment? Because we didn't take action at the budget, on the budget at the committee of the whole.
What we had talked about prior to the meeting is just including it in with the main motion. We
Okay.
could take separate action, but I think it's acceptable
No, that's fine.
to do. Okay. Thanks for the question, though. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Mr. McGilvray?
Thank you. Finally, under item 9A4, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution R-15-056, approving the levy of property taxes for city purposes in the amount of $10,713,828.
We have a motion by Mr. McGilvray. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Doyle. Mr. McGilvray?
I would have nothing else to add if Mr. Burns would like to carry any of that through.
Any questions, comments? Mr. Burns, any statements?
I guess I just wanted to explain for anyone that's not familiar with the process that may be watching, the reason why there are two amendments. The first adopts the budget. The second, that's up for consideration right now, formally levies the property tax and sets the amount of funds that the city would collect. And then following action tonight, as we get the information from the other taxing jurisdictions, the finance director will be working on getting the bills prepared and mailed out as soon as possible in December.
Other questions or comments? If not, just very briefly, I'd mention that, again, I'm very proud of the budget that we have in place. I want to thank all the department heads that worked on the budget, especially thank Bill and Cindy for all the work that they did. The Finance Committee for going through the operating budget and the capital budget. We appreciate that. Sometimes when I speak to local units of government, people will even ask me, why do we even have a budget? And there's several reasons to have a budget. One is not only, it's an accounting document, so we keep track of what we have to spend, where we spend it. It's a management document. We talk about who can spend the money, where it comes from. It's a planning document. I will say that the budget, even though it's an annual budget, it is the most significant planning document that any local unit of government can do. And it sets the roadmap for where we're going to be or not. It sets the roadmap from where we were to where we are today and where we will be in the future. And then finally, it's a communications document with the public. So it lets the public what we know, let the public know what we're doing with the taxes that we levy and the services that we provide. So I know there's no one here this evening to speak on the budget. I know that there's no debate here this evening at the council level. We've already had our debate in the committees and with the departments. But just want to thank everyone who is involved in the budget process. We are in a very strong financial position. This is part, one year of many years when we take a look at the budget on an ongoing basis and tweak it as we go. And next year, again, will be a significant budget for us, and as we look at the diffusing of the EPIC TIF. So again, I know there's no debate here this evening, but we don't want to take it lightly what we're doing. This is the most significant planning that we do on an annual basis, and I want to thank everyone that was involved in that. Thank you. Nothing else from finance?
Well, that's what I was going to say, but you stole my thunder.
I stole your thunder?
No, I think we still have to take action, though.
We do.
All right.
Seeing no other questions or comments, all those in favor of Resolution R-15-056 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion carries. We are now on to Public Safety and Welfare Committee. Mr. Touche, please.
That's me.
Or, I'm sorry, Public Safety. Mr. Yurs, please.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to deny the operator license for Weston Tron.
We have a motion by Mr. Yurs. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Touche. Mr. Yurs, please.
Police Chief Coughlin has recommended the denial of an application for an operator's license for Weston Tron pursuant to City of Verona Ordinance Section 7-2-31. The reasons for the recommended denial include a finding of habitual law offender and several convictions substantially related to the ability to serve fermented malt beverages and/or intoxicating liquors. We held a hearing earlier tonight. Mr. Tron did not appear, and the committee voted unanimously to deny his approval.
Thank you. Any questions for the committee or for Chief Coughlin? Seeing none, the motion before you is to deny the appeal of the operator's license. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion carries. Mr. Yurs, please.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve a temporary Class B beer license for the Hometown Brewdown event on Saturday, July 16, 2016, from Mike O'Brien, with the contingency that we do not have, that it does not include the beer run.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Yurs. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Touche. Mr. Yurs, please.
Ice Inc. has applied for a temporary Class B beer license for a Hometown Brewdown event on Saturday, July 16, 2016. We had the same event, almost the same event last year, which went off very, very well. There are a few changes. One, this year there will be an opportunity for homebrewers to enter into a competition in which the brewmasters of the breweries coming in will be the judges of. Also, another kind of fun event as people come in. It's called an 08 run. So you'll run an 8/10 of a mile, and you get a T-shirt. So just a fun way to try and get more people to come in. Like I said, last year's event was really, really well done, and it supports a great cause of the Verona Ice Arena.
Thank you, Mr. Yurs. Any questions or comments? Ms. Doyle, please.
Just wondering the logic between the contingency and what that was about.
I believe it was part of the packet. Mike proposed a run in which about a mile run in which you would chug a certain amount of beer every half mile. And the committee didn't feel comfortable moving forward with that part of the application.
Thank you, Mr. Yurs. Thanks, Ms. Doyle. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval of that temporary Class B beer license signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion carries. Mr. Yurs, please.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution R-15-057, approving an intergovernmental agreement for the operation of an impaired driving task force.
We have a motion by Mr. Yurs. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Touche. Mr. Yurs?
This is, I believe, our third year having an agreement such as this. It's a way to really promote safe driving and not drinking and driving. A lot of the communities in Dane County get together. Cities of Madison, Sun Prairie, Stoughton, Verona, Village of Cottage Grove, DeForest, McFarland, and Maple Bluff, among some others, get together, and everyone supplies at least one officer to go into these communities and do high visibility. So these are not getcha type tactics. They're really out there to stop the act from even happening. Like I've said, this is our third year, and it's been done very well, and we hope to continue.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, the motion before you is to approve Resolution R-15-057. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion carries. Mr. Yurs, anything else from Public Safety and Welfare?
Nothing further.
Thank you. Now, Public Works, Sewer and Water. Mr. Touche, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under item 9C1, I would like to make a recommendation for approval of Resolution R-15-058, amending a contract with Waste Management of Wisconsin for the collection of refuse and recyclable materials.
We have a motion by Mr. Touche. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Diaz. Mr. Touche, please.
This amendment is to the contract for the collection of refuse and recyclable materials, including an extension of services for 5 years to the existing contract, which has a term through December 31st of 2016. The contract amendment includes moving the city to a cart system for refuse collection. Waste Management is responsible for purchasing the carts and delivering them to all resident customers. At the end of the contract, Waste Management will retain ownership of the carts. The current terms for the curbside bulk item collection, the annual electronic recycling collection, and the recycling rebate will remain the same under the amended contract. With the amended contract, the city will realize a savings of approximately $70,000 next year of 2016. Some items I would like to note, some motivations for the change. Costs are going up quite a bit for Waste Management, workman's comp being one with the bigger items. And the new waste bins will be approximately 96 gallons, which is about 2 garbage cans equivalent. And if a resident does want a smaller can, after a few weeks of receiving the larger one, they can request a smaller one.
Thank you, Mr. Touche. Are there any questions or comments? Questions or comments? Seeing none, the motion before you is to approve Resolution R-15-058. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion carries. Mr. Touche, please.
Under item 9C2, I would like to make a recommendation, recommend approving ordinance 15-867, amending Title IX, Chapter 1 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Verona, Water Utility Regulation and Rates.
We have a motion by Mr. Touche. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Diaz. Mr. Touche, please.
The Water Utility filed an application on August 20th of this year with the Public Service Commission for the authority to increase water rates. Rates for general service will increase 3%. The increase is necessary to reduce the existing deficiency in the present rates. This increase will increase the average residential quarterly charge from $48.85 to $50.20, less than $2. The new rates will become effective on December 15th of 2015.
Thank you, Mr. Touche. Questions or comments? Seeing no questions or comments, the motion before you is to approve Resolution R-15-867. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion carries. Mr. Touche, please.
Thank you. I would like to make a...
I'm sorry, it's an ordinance, not a resolution. Thank you, Bill.
Correct.
Mr. Touche, please.
Thank you. I would like to make a recommendation for approval of professional service agreement for design survey and design services for County Highway PD and the new westerly entrance into the Epic campus.
We have a motion by Mr. Touche. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. McGilvray. Mr. Touche, please.
Epic has requested that the city enter into a professional services agreement for engineering, design, and survey services for the widening of County Highway PD and the new westerly entrance to the Epic campus. This work will be on a time and materials basis not to exceed $175,570. Epic will be billed by the city for these services.
You've heard the explanation. Are there any questions or comments? Mr. Diaz, please.
Thank you. Just that I'll be abstaining from this vote and the other 2 epic votes.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments on the motion? If not, the motion before you is to approve the professional services agreement for design survey and design services for County Trunk Highway PD and the new westerly entrance into Epic campus. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion carries. Mr. Touche, please.
I would like to make a motion, or under item 9C4, I would like to make a motion recommending approval for change order number 1 for the Locust Drive Bridge widening project.
We have a motion by Mr. Touche. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. Yurs. Mr. Touche, please.
The reason for the change order is that the contractor requested to install 1 lift of asphalt instead of 2 lifts to reduce the construction time needed to install the asphalt pavement. The result of the change order is a $1,500 deduction to the current amount.
Thank you, Mr. Touche. Questions or comments on that change order? Seeing none, the motion before you is to approve change order number 1 for the Locust Drive Bridge Widening Project. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion carries. Mr. Touche, please.
I would like to make a motion. I would do 2 separate motions, but the discussion is going to be for both motions. So under item 9C5, I would like to make a motion recommending approval for resolution R-15-059, approving a charitable donation agreement with Epic Systems Corporation.
We have a motion by Mr. Touche. Is there a second? Second by Mr. McGilvery. Mr. Touche, please.
Again, this description is for this item and the next item. Earlier this year, the city purchased a quarry on the east side of Nine Mound Road from Wingra Real Estate in Payne and Dolan. This quarry is intended to be used for right-of-way for the expansion of Nine Mound Road / Northern Lights Road, a public works fill site, open space, and recreational and other public purposes. The city and Epic Systems have negotiated a charitable donation agreement under which Epic agrees to the following. They will provide a cash payment of $3 million to the city. They will provide fill material for the property. They will construct improvements for the Nine Mound Road Northern Lights Road project. Under the terms of the charitable donation agreement, the city would agree that the property would be used for public purposes and that it would not be used for residential, commercial, industrial, or other for-profit uses. The remainder of this is for the next item. In addition, the city would agree to enter into an option to purchase agreement with Epic. This would allow Epic to exercise an option to purchase up to 7 acres of the property for use as an electric substation to serve their campus.
Thank you, Mr. Touche. Any questions, comments on the first motion? Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Mr. Diaz, and the minutes will reflect that. Mr. Touche, please.
Under item 9C6, I would like to make a recommendation for approving resolution R-15-060, approving an option to purchase agreement with Epic Systems Corporation.
We have a motion by Mr. Touche. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Yurs. Mr. Touche, please.
I think I already gave the explanation.
You did. Any questions? Any questions at all on this motion? If not, the motion before you is to approve resolution R-15-060. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Mr. Diaz will let the minutes reflect. Mr. Touche, anything else from Public Works, Sewer, and Water?
That is all I have for today.
Thank you. We are then moving on to approval of operator licenses. Ms. Lick, please.
The operator licenses that are up for approval tonight are Lindsay Phillips and Haley Smith from MT Treads, Matt Stoker from Mr. Bruce Tap House, Angel Schomer from Cahoots, Kelly Hine from Fifth Quarter, Spring Teasley, and Derek Gilly from Vincenzo BP.
Move approval.
We have a motion by Mr. Touche to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Yurs. Are there any questions on the operator licenses? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion carries, and the operator licenses have been approved. Next, we have discussion and possible action regarding filling of the vacant city clerk position. I would ask if there is a motion to go into closed session, and whoever would make that motion, if you would read actually the verbiage on the agenda. Mr. Yurs, please.
I'll make a motion for the Common Council may convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 parent 1 parent C for the purpose of considering employment and compensation of a public employee over which the Common Council has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. The Common Council may reconvene in open session and may take action on the closed session item.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Yurs. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Ms. Doyle. Roll call vote is required. Ms. Lick, would you read the roll, please?
Alderperson McGilvery,
Aye.
Alderperson Steiner,
Aye.
Alderperson Touche,
Aye.
Alderperson Yers,
Aye.
Alderperson Diaz,
Aye.
Alderperson Doyle.
Aye.
And that motion carries. We are in closed session. We are back in open session. We are on agenda item number 11, which is announcements. Do we have any announcements this evening? Do we have any announcements this evening? None. Only other business is a motion to adjourn. We have a motion by Mr. Yurs. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Doyle. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carried. We're adjourned.